Dear friends, this is episode number 79. In the last episode we were dealing with Rule 25 and I read Rule 25 and said that the appeal will be kept pending there and a direction shall be issued to the court below to take additional evidence required. And that court, that is a court below, will try that issue and return the evidence and all the records to the appellate court, plus send its findings and reasons therefore within such time as may be fixed or extended. So here a remand will not be made by the appellate court on the ground that the trial court omitted to frame or try an issue or omitted to determine a question of fact. If the appellate court finds that gap can be filled up so that a remand of the whole case is made, the trial court has to decide the whole matter afresh, then an appeal. So it takes how much time? Whereas if there is a omission, if one particular fact is not decided or an issue was omitted to be framed, all right, frame that issue. Sometimes additional evidence may not be required. That it is covered by Rule 24 where evidence on record is sufficient. Then it may decide that case, though for reasons different from that given by the trial court. But here evidence is required on that issue or for deciding that question of fact which was omitted to be considered, then direct the trial court to try that issue and decide the case, that fact which was omitted to be considered, and if necessary take evidence, such additional evidence, and then send it. Then next rule makes it further clear. Findings and evidence to be put on record, objections to finding. Such evidence and findings shall form part of the record in the suit, and either party may within a time to be fixed by the appellate court present a memorandum of objection as to any such finding. So an issue was omitted to be raised or an issue or a fact was omitted to be decided. Any question of fact. The appellate court may keep that appeal pending, refer that matter to the trial court with a direction to take additional evidence and to decide that issue, frame the issue. The appellate court may frame the issue and send to, if necessary, frame the issue. Then the trial court will decide it, send back the records. Together with the findings. Those findings will be on record, taken on record. So that will form part of the record of the trial court in the case. So it is as if those evidence and findings were available, it will be treated like that. It is part of the record. And either party may then say the parties did not get an opportunity to object it. No ground is taken in the appeal with respect to that finding. Fact which was omitted to be considered, there will be no finding, and when there is no finding, there will be no ground in the appeal. We have seen in the Order 41 itself, when no ground is raised except with the permission of the court, that ground cannot be urged. Or a finding on an issue, that issue will not be there because it was omitted to be considered. So that the party must get an opportunity to object to that finding. Otherwise it will be accepted as a finding. Now, say I will give an example. A suit between A and B. Suit was decreed, that means A succeeded. B files an appeal. The appellate court finds that the proper issues were not raised. An issue was omitted to be raised, or a material fact was omitted to be considered. And the appellate court finds that a finding on that is required, or additional evidence is required in respect of that issue or fact. The appeal will be retained, and that after resettling or frame the issues, refer to the trial court. And the trial court decides that issue against A. Still the suit can be decreed, no harm. Or decides that question of fact against the plaintiff. That may not alter the situation, or sometimes may alter the situation. I said that a suit was decreed, and this procedure under Rule 25 was followed, and an additional finding comes. Sometimes a suit may be dismissed on that finding, and sometimes A's decree may be sustained even after that finding. Either way it may happen. And it does not make any change. A is not worried, but still it is a finding against him. He has to get an opportunity to object to it. He may do it. B is definitely aggrieved. He may challenge it. Either case, either way, both parties will get an opportunity to file objections, present a memorandum of objections. Then 2, determination of appeal. After expiration of the period so fixed for presenting such memorandum, the appellate court shall proceed to determine the appeal. So this is a peculiar procedure. And please see AER 1961 Supreme Court 402. The directions given by the appellate court should be clear, certain, definite, and without any ambiguity. Now we will see 26A. Order of remand to mention the date of next hearing, where the appellate court remands a case under Rule 23 or 23A, or frames an issue and refers for trial under Rule 25. That means it has to go back to the trial court. It shall fix a date for the appearance of the parties before the court from whose decree the appeal was preferred, for the purpose of receiving the directions of that court as to further proceedings. So while remanding or giving a direction under Rule 25, the appellate court shall fix a date for appearance of the parties in the trial court, so that fresh notice need not be served. The parties have to appear on that, and the order passed by the appellate court will be received by the trial court. The trial court has to comply with the directions. Therefore, to avoid delay and to have certainty, fix a date for appearance. Yes. Now comes production of additional evidence in appellate court. It is very often it comes. Why? At the time when evidence was adduced, the parties neglect. Parties are not vigilant. They do not produce the necessary evidence, and they lose in the case. Then the appeal comes. Then they think of, as I could have adduced this evidence, I could have adduced that evidence, then it would have been better, I would have succeeded. Lament. That is not possible. That is not possible unless there are cogent reasons for accepting additional evidence. The court will not permit it. So that whenever you are getting an opportunity before the trial court to produce all the relevant evidence, if that opportunity is denied, that is a ground for allowing your appeal. Suppose the trial court says, no, that witness cannot be examined, this witness cannot be examined, this document cannot be accepted, and the appellate court finds that that decision on that aspect by the trial court was wrong, there is no difficulty, that will be set aside, and if necessary remand or take such evidence as the appellate court thinks, or evidence on record is sufficient, it may decide under Rule 24. Here, please read, the parties to an appeal shall not be entitled to produce additional evidence, whether oral or documentary, in the appellate court. But if the following conditions are satisfied, the appellate court may allow. What are the conditions? Clause A, AA, and Clause B. We will come to that. The parties to an appeal shall not be entitled to produce additional evidence. So, what is a general rule? No additional evidence in the appellate court. There will be no end in the case. Go on adducing additional evidence, go on producing documents. There is no end. Please see the following provisions. Order 7, Rule 14. We will see. Order 7, Rule 14. Why it is said so? There must be some reason. What is that reason? Order 7, Rule 14. Production of documents on which the plaintiff sues or lies. This is an amendment, please see dear friends, this is an amendment in 99. Insertion in 99. Where a plaintiff sues upon a document, or I will read fast, it is not necessary to go into each word for this purpose. For the purpose of Rule 27, I just mentioned the importance of this word. The parties to an appeal shall not be entitled. Why shall not be entitled? There are reasons in the statute itself. Sues upon a document or lies upon a document in his possession or power, he shall enter such document in a list and shall produce it in court when the plaintiff is presented, and shall at the same time deliver copy thereof to the opposite side. Where that document is not in the possession or power of the plaintiff, he shall whenever possible state in whose possession or power it is. Sometimes I rely on a document, I am the plaintiff, I rely on a document, I know that there is such a document. But that document is not with me. It may be with the other party, opposite party, or it may be with a third party. It has to be steps are to be taken to produce it, get cause production of those documents. There are different methods for production of that documents at the time of taking steps. You can take that steps. Summon a particular person to produce a document, only to produce a document and to give evidence. There are several types of such steps that can be taken. If a witness is to be summoned, all right. Witness is summoned to produce a particular document which is in his possession or power. Yes, produce that document and go back. You produce that document and give evidence. He has to obey. Suppose that document is in the possession and power of the defendant, you can say that it is in the possession of the defendant. Call upon the defendant to produce that document. If he refuses, an adverse inference can be drawn. A document, now this is important. Rule 14(3) of Order 7. A document which ought to be produced in court by the plaintiff when the plaintiff is presented, or to be entered in the list to be added or annexed to the plaint, but is not produced or entered accordingly, shall not, without the leave of the court, be received in evidence on his behalf at the hearing of the suit. So this emphasizes the necessity of producing all the relevant documents on which the plaintiff relies at the time of presenting the plaint. And if it is not in his possession or power, state it and then take necessary steps thereafter. If you are having some documents, don't keep it, produce it along with the plaint. That is the rule. It was inserted in 99. Otherwise, what the people, plaint will be presented, written statement, then issues, then it will be posted for a trial, several postings will be given, and at the last moment you dump several documents in court. That has been given a go by the 99 amendment. Now the parties must be very vigilant. Now take Order 8 Rule 1A. Duty of the defendant to produce documents upon which the relief is claimed or relied upon by him. Almost similar wording as in Rule 14 of Order 7. A document which ought to be produced in court by the defendant under this rule, but is not so produced, shall not without the leave of the court be received in evidence on his behalf at the hearing. So a similar provision for the defendant also. So a defendant is in possession or power of a document on which he relies, he has to produce it along with the written statement. If he does not produce it, that the court will not accept it without the leave of the court. It cannot be produced without the leave of the court. Then Order 13 Rule 1. Order 13, the heading of that order is production, impounding and return of documents. Rule 1. Original documents to be produced at or before settlement of issues. The parties or their pleader shall produce on or before the settlement of issues all the documentary evidence in original where the copies thereof has been filed along with the plaint or written statement. That is substituted, Rule 1 is substituted by the 99 amendment because of the other two rules which I mentioned now, which were inserted by the 99 amendment. Consequently, there was some changes were required in Rule 1 of Order 13 and therefore that rule was substituted. Nothing in this rule shall apply to documents so and so, so and so. So, at or before settlement of issues, those documents shall be produced. So that in Rule 27, even before these inserted provisions in Rule Order 7 and Order 8 and substituted provision in Order 13 Rule 1, they were done in 99. Even before that, the law was this: the parties to an appeal shall not be entitled to produce additional evidence. So you can see the rigor. What about after 99 amendment? Rule 27 will apply with added rigor because there are supporting provisions, enabling supporting provisions to say so. The other was a general principle that it will not be entertained in appeal, additional evidence. But here there are reasons for it. You were given an opportunity, the statutory provisions are clear that this shall be produced at that stage, timely action is required. And therefore this rigor in Rule 27 was there even before 99 when Order 7 Rule 14 was inserted, Order 8 Rule 1A was inserted and Rule 1 of Order 13 was substituted. Even before that, Rule 27, the wording was like this. So that even at that time, it was thought by the Parliament that the parties to an appeal shall not be entitled to produce additional evidence by the mere asking of it. But if Now let us see the various clauses. The court from whose decree the appeal is preferred has refused to admit evidence which ought to have been admitted. Evidence was admissible, documents were admissible, but the court below did not do it. Erroneous decision by the court. And therefore, evidence was not before on record. That evidence was not accepted. It was required to be accepted, and the decision of the trial court on that point was wrong. And therefore, those documents or evidence can be produced before the appellate court as additional evidence. Clause AA. The party seeking to produce additional evidence establishes that notwithstanding the exercise of due diligence, such evidence was not within his knowledge or could not after the exercise of due diligence be produced by him at the time when the decree appealed against was passed. What are all the things? Establishes that additional evidence was not within his knowledge. The party was not aware of the existence of such a document. A suit for partition. A person died who was having title to the property. He died. He has got wife and children. And one sharer filed a suit for partition. There is a will executed by the father. Nobody knows. Sometimes it so happens in families. So take the first defendant. He is the beneficiary under the will. He was not aware of it. The execution of such a document by the father and the bequest of that the property to him or major part of it is to him. He came to know of that fact later. So in spite of due diligence, he could not produce that evidence. That is in his favor. He would have produced it. And if that was available, definitely he would have produced it. But he was not aware. He has not raised such a contention in the written statement that he is the beneficiary under a will executed by the father. He was not aware of the execution of any such will by the father. He came to know later that such a will was executed. Will can be registered or unregistered. An unregistered will was executed and it was entrusted to a friend of father. That friend disclosed to these people. Later, by the time the suit was over, an appeal was filed. In that appeal, during that appeal time, the first defendant came to know, or he was told by the friend of his father, that your father had executed such a will and some of the items have been given to you as bequest under the will. He came to know later. He can file an application to amend the written statement, raise additional issues, and if necessary, produce it as additional evidence. Establishes that notwithstanding the exercise of due diligence, such evidence was not within his knowledge. Second aspect, could not after the exercise of due diligence be produced. So one is, notwithstanding the exercise of such diligence, such evidence was not within his knowledge. He could not produce. The other aspect is he knew about it. Could not after the exercise of due diligence be produced by him. Such circumstances may arise at the time when the decree appealed against was passed. So he can produce it as additional evidence. Then B, the appellate court requires any document to be produced or any witness to be examined to enable it to pronounce the judgment or for any other substantial cause. The appellate court says, on going through the records, appellate court finds that a particular document which is not produced before court is very relevant for adjudication, or the evidence of a particular person as a witness would have thrown much light on the and thereby the cloud could be removed, and it would have thrown light on several dark areas. The appellate court may say, all right, we will take that evidence as additional evidence. What is the ultimate aim? To do justice to the parties, complete justice to the parties, to decide the case rightly. It is not to punish a particular person for not doing this or doing that. It is a decision once rendered by the civil court is final and conclusive. Res judicata in subsequent litigation. So that it is not a silly thing. A decision by the civil court means final. And therefore the whole justice cannot depend on the laches or the negligence on the part of a party. The court may find, in spite of all these things, they could not prove clause A or clause AA. Still, the court finds that a particular document or a particular piece of evidence may be necessary to enable it to pronounce the judgment. It may allow it. The appellate court may allow such evidence or document to be produced. Then, wherever additional evidence is allowed to be produced by an appellate court, the court shall record the reason for its admission. We will deal with it, Rule 27, in more detail in the next episode. Thank you.